DC is a kill box. It is a death trap. It is a lawless hellscape, and it is a scar on the face of our national conscience. Because we as Americans deserve a capital city that is beautiful and safe and that projects the power and the values of Western civilization. We do not deserve the crime-addled, narco, welfare hellscape that DC has become. President Trump is doing God's work by refederalizing DC.
Welcome back to the Church of King David. All praises be to Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai, I am your servant, Adapted on Harris, and today we're going to talk about the Messiah doing away with Jesus. And everything from this dangerous moment that we're living in with the Trump administration taking over DC. And I don't think that they want to relinquish power, because our prophecy and their prophecy says that they don't want to do it. So we are living in very dangerous times. Now, we just watched that clip from Benny Johnson, a MAGA supporter, explaining why Trump should federalize Washington, D.C. and beyond that, because they're going to do this. If they do it in D.C., they're going to do it everywhere. And it's a reason why they're going to do it everywhere. And it's because of the Messiah is going to come back. They got to centralize all of their resources. They ain't got time to play with us, black people, brown people. They ain't got time to deal with that. They got to deal with this incoming Messiah. And before him, they got to deal with the incoming of Jesus Christ, because he's got to come first. He's going to come before the Messiah of the children of Israel. And so black people need to vacate this spiritual dictatorship that they have been living under, which is called Christianity. We need to vacate that. Now, something that Benny Johnson said, I want to point out, when he said that Trump is doing the work of God. Where did we hear that before? Right here from Yahushai in John 16, chapter 2. When Yahushai says, and they shall put you out of the synagogues. See, what's happening in DC is going to lead to all of this. None of you black people are going to be accepted as Christians. That's what's about to happen. That's what you're starting to see form in this wicked storm that these people have put in their minds to do against us as the children of God, as Daniel prophesied for us, as Daniel wrote about, right? That they shall wear out the people of God, right? Meaning us. So Benny Johnson, he said that Trump is here to do the work of God by cleaning up DC, by getting rid of the crime, meaning black people and poor white folks and Latinos. So it says, they shall put you out of the synagogues. See, the end game is to get you out. You see, they only allowed you to be Christians to make you docile. Because if you knew this entire time that you wasn't a Christian, you would have fought against them at every turn. But being a Christian made you compliant up until this point. They don't need you anymore. So Yahushua, he warned us. He says, yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God's service. Now the brother, I think his channel is called Taylor House Publishing. I want y'all to watch this clip. of this man, or this monster, this monstrosity, shoot a veteran of the Navy, a black man, an elderly black man with one leg cut off of him, shoot this man. And Taylor House Publishing, go check out his channel, because he does a very fantastic job in keeping watch over us as a people. He's in the government of Ahawashai, whether he understands it or not. He's in the government. He is there. It's on his spirit to keep watch over us as a people and to report these incidents that is happening all over this country. There's some things that if he didn't report on it, I would not have known about it. So now let's watch this clip from Taylor House Publishings, because this is a fulfillment of what Ahawashai said. It's playtime is over. Your Nagid is telling you playtime is over. Okay? So remember what I'm saying to you. From the throne of David, your Nagid is telling you they didn't want you to be Christians. They only allowed you to become Christians in order to make us as a people docile, compliant. Check out this video.
Educational purposes only.
On camera, new video this morning showing the moments before and after a shooting along the Seattle waterfront. Take a look here. This happened on July 31st around 4 p.m. Seattle police say the suspect, 32-year-old Gregory Tim, is charged with first-degree assault. They said that Tim approached the victim and grabbed a military patch from him. The victim accused Tim of stolen valor and pulled out a knife. And that's when police say Tim grabbed a gun and shot the victim in the chest.
All right, everybody. Show me your ID. Fucking gun on me. Pull a fucking gun on me.
Now, the victim was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Tim is in jail on $750,000 bail. He's
Okay, so courtesy of Taylor House Publishing or Publications, we just watched this video of this individual shooting this elderly Navy veteran and accusing him of not being a veteran. But this goes a lot deeper than that. Let's go back to what Ahawashai said in John chapter 16, right? I'll start at verse 1. He says, "These things I have spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended." And we're not going to be offended at this. We know what we just witnessed in that video is bringing us closer to our salvation. But listen to what he says, okay? Because this is going to apply to Benny Johnson and the Christian conservative movement, everybody that's following that, including black people or Latino people that are supporting this. Listen to what Christ says, okay? He says, they shall put you out of the synagogues, okay? Because Christianity from its onset was never meant for black people. You need to understand that. And so they're going to revoke your membership or your affiliation with that faith. Listen to what Christ says, and they shall put you out of the churches. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you, whosoever unalive you, would think that he doeth God service. But listen to what he says next. I don't want every Christian conservative to listen to these words, because what you're about to do, and you're going to do it regardless of what I say. You're going to do it regardless of what the scriptures say. You're going to perform this, right? So that we would always know moving forward that you are not from the Father. I want all of you black folks that are in Christianity to listen to these words. Listen. And it says, and these things will they do unto you, because they have not known the Father, nor me. It's a sham, right? The religion in which they gave you to comply with their abuses, that faith causes you not to know the Father or the Son. Let me repeat this to you, because you heard Benny Johnson say it, and we saw it, and we can see it with that incident with the brother being shot in Seattle, Washington. He says, they shall put you out of the synagogues. See, there's going to come a time they're going to declassify you as Christians. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God's service. And these things will they do unto you, just like in that video, right? That young man is thinking to do the work of God. Benny Johnson said that Trump is doing the work of God. We are at this moment. We are at this moment, fellow Nagids. We are at this moment. And being at this moment, our Messiah has trained us to know that these actions are not from the Father, meaning that these people do not know the Father, nor his Son. I want you to think about that, because you need to come away from this spiritual dictator. Trump is one thing, but Jesus Christ is something else. And Jesus Christ is the one that has been keeping you blinded in the dark. You don't believe me? It's written in the scriptures. You don't believe me? Let's go get it. So you need to wake up from this dictatorship before it's too late. They are going to cast you out of that faith. They're going to cast you out of their religion. You see how they doing this? Just bear with us. They're throwing all kinds of stuff at this computer to keep me from making this video. They kept us off of uploading videos for the past week, and now we're back. And this is what we get. The very first video. This is what we get. But I want you to understand that that spiritual dictator is blinding you. He's blinding you, right? He's keeping you from seeing the true world, the invisible world, the world that is hidden from this world. The people of this world is not good enough to perceive that world, but you have been chosen to be able to receive that perception, and they hate it. That if you were to overcome them, you would be able to perceive that world where Christ did not die. He didn't have to die in that world. So there's no need to celebrate Christmas if you are really awakened. Okay? So let's wait on this, because this is a war, right? The algorithm, the computer, AI is fighting against all of us when we turn on our computers to do these lessons. And this is an attack. So we just got to be patient, like we were commanded to do. Just have patience. So I'm just going to prove that the God of this world, who is Jesus Christ, has blinded you, right? And they blinded you in so many ways that even when we read this scripture right here, you're going to still think that you're not going to make that connection because they wrote the name Jesus in these scriptures. All right, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. Let me click on it because it's a verse above that. As they are trying to keep us from clicking on this. But let's just be patient while we're waiting on this. Let's just read it. It says, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not. Christians don't believe that they need a Yahushua. Christians don't believe that they need to call the Son of God by his Hebrew name, which is the language he was born in. They don't believe that. Christians don't believe that they need to stop celebrating Christmas. Why? Because that is a physical thing that you're not supposed to remember anymore if you have been made a new creature in Christ. Right? In the Messiah. Then it says, Paul says, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Messiah, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. See, the only way that you're going to be able to perceive beyond this world in which Jesus is the God of is to do it through the truth of a Yahushua. Listen to the Holy Spirit. Teach you about the things in the past. Listen to the Spirit of truth. Teach you about the things that are coming. Let's see if we can click on it. So that video went hand in hand with what Yahushua said in John chapter 16, verse 1, 2, and 3. That they would do these things to us because they know not the Father or the Son. And so we learn and we know that the Christian conservative movement is a part of the Trump administration. We understand where they want to go with this restructuring of the government to be based upon the Christian conservative movement, because they pump so much money into getting Trump in office that he has to do their bidding. And so what we're going to start to see is judges, elected officials, all be cast out and get replaced with these so-called Christian conservative pastors. And these ministers will be the ministers over your state, over your local governments. They're going to be the ones in charge. All right, so Paul says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world, which is Jesus Christ, has blinded the minds of them which believe not. Right? The women in Christianity, they did not believe that women should not be pastors, as the scriptures say. But the Christian conservative movement is going to cut that out. They're going to force that out, and they should. I'm not against that, but they're going to do it as a means to doing other stuff. Okay. So it says, but if our gospel be hid, is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of the Messiah, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. Now listen to this. Now Paul says, for Yahweh has commanded the light to shine out of darkness. This entire planet is darkness, but where is it going to shine out of? Has shined in our hearts to give the light of knowledge of the glory of Yahweh in the face of Yahweh Shai, Elohim Yahweh Shai. Now you're going to get confused because for those of you who don't realize that they put this name in there. The name Jesus should not be in the Bible at all. But this is a part of their warfare against us to trap you, as Paul just read. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. Right? And this is one of the instructions that you need to understand, it when it says we walk by faith and not by sight. Meaning that when we read the scriptures, we're not reading the scriptures always based upon what our eyes see. See, my eyes see, like your eyes see, that it says Jesus Christ right here. But I'm not walking my eyes, right? It's not talking about walking your feet. It's walking your eyes, right? Your perception, right? I perceive that they wrote here Jesus Christ. But I know in the spirit that that can't be correct. And so I have to renew the scriptures within me. That's why Paul said it has shined in our hearts. See, this is the surface that they can manipulate, right? The King James Version is the surface that they can manipulate. But what's inside of us is something different. You see? So we walk by faith, evidence, and not by sight. And the evidence is that the Savior of this planet was born Hebrew. His mama named him a Hebrew name. The angel Gabriel came down from heaven and told him what the Father wanted him to be named. And he was named that name in Hebrew. When he himself came down and spoke to Paul, he spoke to Paul in Hebrew. When the Spirit comes into our hearts, we start speaking Hebrew. So when we read these things that they give us in English, we have to translate them within us so that we're walking by the evidence and no more by what our eyes just read. That's how this is done. So let's continue with this indictment of Jesus, because I have nothing against the word Christ, because it simply means anointed, and we can all go back and forth on that. I don't have a problem with it. All right, so this is the sealed portion, and this is again chapter 64. I read this all the time whenever I can. And it's going to explain, if you read down through it, the formation of Christianity. And it tells us when we get to verse 3 that the founder of Christianity is the devil. See it right here. And it came to pass that I beheld this great and abominable church, and I saw the devil, that he was the founder of it. But what did this church do? Right? Let's look at the evidence of what this church did. It says it tortured, right? It says, behold, I'm gonna read this part right here. All right, because this is talking about American slavery. And see, we have a problem in the black community of those of us that are out here trying to tell the truth. Now we got certain people trying to say and put up videos that we weren't enslaved, right? They came here and enslaved us and shipped us out to all other parts of the world. That may be true. And I believe that aspect is true, but that's not all that happened. They did bring us out of Spain, off the coast, the Ivory Coast of Africa, off the west coast of Africa. When they drove us out of Spain down into the interiors of Africa, the Africans didn't want us there. And so they put us on these slave ships. and they brought us over here to where the rest of us were. Right? They brought us here to be enslaved together. Doesn't that make sense? So that makes more sense. Now we know that we were here before Columbus. That's just telling us the truth. But what this says here, it says, behold, the formation of a church, which is most abominable above all other churches, which slayeth the saints, which we just saw in that video. The elderly brother was just out there minding his business. But these people have that spirit on them to try to slay the saints of Yahweh. Yea, and tortured them and binded them down and yoked them with a yoke of iron and bringeth them down into captivity. So they have already performed this with what you call American slavery. So the Church of King David will say the church of the children of God were in fact enslaved in this land. Period. Now let's move on to something else I want to bring out and bring to your attention. Now, let's look at some movies. Because in these movies, they are going to show you a few things. How the entire world is going to be burnt up. In other words, Ezekiel's dry bones. The valley of dry bones is going to be created. And it's going to be created so that they can centralize their power, their resources to these cities. This is why they want to drive us out of these cities, so that they can centralize their power, their resources, and let us fend for ourselves. And then it will get to the point that they will just do away with us, right? That they don't have to be bothered with us, because we're going to have to learn how to survive in ways that we never thought possible in our life. Okay. Now, this first movie, once it pulls up, is The Priest. I believe that this was made somewhere early 2000s. And this movie is about this man that you see on the screen realizing that these people lied to him about what was really happening out there in the world. And one of the things that he realized is that these black people that they so-called burnt up, right? Now you're going to have to, you know, perceive this in the spirit. These black people that they burnt up just came back from the dead. And so whenever you hear about zombies or the living dead in these films, it's a reference to the resurrection of Ezekiel's dry bones. And so he realized that it was all a lie, which they were telling him, right? The religion and the faith that they gave him was a lie, because now these people don't come back from the grave. They don't come back from the dead. So let me just scan through it. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to scan through and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. One of the things I want to look for is the wall. I don't want to play it. Just want to scan through. Okay, so here in this scene right here. Okay, in this scene, you see these are the Christian conservative leaders that will take over these cities and run these cities according to their doctrine. And this priest is going to go against them. He's going to tell them that what they said is a lie, because these people just came back from the dead. Watch, listen. I'm just watch it, because I'm not going to play it. And so he tells them to the face that this is a lie. And see, the people in the cities, they're going to get shaken, because now these people don't come back. And this is why in Revelations chapter 11, it says that they are going to be in great fear when they see us go up into heaven. Let me see if I just hit it so y'all can see it. You see the girl, she's screaming. You see that? She's screaming. Why? Because we've been resurrected and the 3.5 days is over. All right, I want to show you something else. All right, so this is when he tells them that they a lie. And so now they're going to have to fight that great army of Yahweh. Now notice here, I'm going to have to back it up because I want to show you the wall. But notice, in all of these films, the earth is like a desert everywhere. And that's because of Ezekiel's dry bones. They basically nuked anything outside the city. They're going to nuke it. But before he comes out, I want to show you this wall. You see, in all of these movies, they're going to have this wall. See how the wall separates where we was before Ezekiel's dry bones and how they living behind this wall. This is how they're going to control all of these cities. They're going to put up these walls in order to protect themselves. Okay? You don't believe me? You're just going to keep seeing this over and over again. All right, so I have to apologize. I didn't realize that you guys couldn't see or hear the clip of this trailer for the priest. So I'm gonna keep it muted, but I'm just gonna show it to you, okay? So in this scene here, I'm gonna put it down in the shorts so you guys can hear it. But it says that we bred a new army. Now, what are they referring to? Like I told you, everything is going according to the word. This is how Yahweh Shai is going to destroy this spiritual dictator that you call Jesus. In this, by the word. So let's go by the word. So this is Revelation chapter 11. And I'll read verse 11 and 12. And it says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. This is what this film is capturing. These people, when they see us being resurrected, they're going to know that this is a game changer because they're not going to have any weapons to be able to deal with this. They just killed us. They just nuked us. As we can see in all of these films, the Book of Eli is going to show us that they completely destroyed the entire planet in order to do away with us as a people. As you can see here, right? Everything is destroyed behind them. Look, everything around Eli is destroyed. Everything is destroyed. You see? Let's see if we get a couple more pictures. You see the background? Everything is destroyed. If we come to the Maze Runner, you can go to Mad Max. Mad Max is a post-apocalyptic movie. Okay, if we go to the Maze Runner, we're going to see in the Maze Runner Scorched Earth. That's exactly what they did. Is they scorched the entire earth. Right in the Matrix. What did they say? They scorched the sky. So these people are going to burn up everything that's not in the ground. You're going to have to go down inside those bunkers in order to escape this destruction that they're going to cause all over the world. As you can see here, the Maze Runner, you see all this, the cities are destroyed. And we're going to read that. That's what I believe Yahweh said to Ezekiel. All right, that we wouldn't wake up until the cities be destroyed, right? Once we realize what's happening, okay? So I wanted to point that out. Let's go back to Revelations. Let's read that again so you guys can see it. That great fear is going to fall upon these people. So what Trump is doing in Washington, D.C., it must happen. In order to fulfill the prophecy, they must begin to regulate and centralize the cities. And these cities have tunnels and highways and things that go underground. So they're going to have to begin to quarantine these cities. and the cities are going to be quarantined from the suburbs and so forth and so on. So you have to understand this. All right, so let me read verse 12, and it says, "And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them." You see? So this is what they're referring to in this movie by seeing the resurrection. You see, he says, "You're too late, priest. It's their turn now." All right. The children of Israel are going to get their turn. Black people are going to get their turn to have a nation, to have a world that respects them. It's going to be our turn. Now let's go to the Odes of King Solomon. Ode 22. This was written before Revelations, before John had the revelation. Ahawashi, as King Solomon, understood what was going to happen. Let's read. Well, let me read the whole thing. King Solomon, Ahawashi says, He who caused me to descend from on high." Right, so it's Solomon that's coming down. That lie that is Jesus coming down is a lie. It is Solomon who is coming down and to ascend from the regions below. "And he who gathers what is in the middle and throws them to me. He who scattered my enemies and my adversaries. He who gave me authority over bonds so that I might unbind them." And that's what he's going to do. He's going to come down and he's going to unleash us. "He who overthrew by my hands the dragon," right? The dragon is it's going to be all of these nations, but it's primarily going to be those that are following this thing that Trump now is doing. They're going to fulfill the role of the false prophet, the dragon. They're going to do all of that, and he's going to destroy them, right? The Most High is going to destroy them by Solomon's hands with 7 heads, and set me at his roots, that I might destroy his seed. You were there and helped me in every place. Your name surrounded me, the name of Yahweh. Your right hand destroyed his evil venom, and your hand leveled the way for those who believe in you. Christians, y'all don't believe in Yahweh. Y'all don't believe that King Solomon is the son of God. Y'all don't believe that. Y'all believe the lie that they gave you. Okay? And it chose them from the graves, right? So the only ones that can get resurrected and go up to meet Christ in the air are the children of Israel, like Ezekiel 37 told us, that the bones that came back together and that were given life again, new life, are the whole house of Israel, not Christians, not a believer in Jesus. Okay? Listen, it chose them from the graves, because that's going to be something that you can't fake, and the whole world is going to see it, and separated them from the dead ones. Okay? Because like I said, they're going to nuke the entire planet. It doesn't matter who is dead. A lot of people that are not of the house of Israel are also going to be dead. But when Solomon comes down, when Ahawashi comes down, he's going to choose the whole house of Israel to resurrect and nobody else. It took the dead bones and covered them with flesh. All right, so this precedes even Ezekiel being told about this. Solomon already knew it. The Son of God already knew it, but they were motionless. So it gave them energy for life. Incorruptibility was your way in your face, you have brought your world to corruption, that everything might be resolved and renewed. And the foundation of everything is your rock. And upon it you have built your kingdom, and it became the dwelling place of the holy ones. You see? So everything that you're seeing in these films, whether it's the Book of Eli or The Priest or Mad Max or whatever film it is, they're telling you this is the beginning. So what you see happening in DC and the spirit that the Trump them have on them, that the Christian conservative movement has on them, is a fulfillment of prophecy. It must come to pass, and it will come to pass. Now I want y'all to check this out. In this movie trailer for the I don't know if it's a movie or something on Amazon or something, but in this movie they're going to show you that this is when Jesus dies. Okay, when this happens, because the whole world is going to see that everything that they taught you is a lie. Okay, everything is a lie. The name is a lie. Before that name, they had another name. Before that name, they called them another name. Okay, so this is one of those post-apocalyptic movies after the resurrection happens. Again, the whole world is destroyed. The main population is underground. And this, I just want you to watch this. Let's see where it's going to let us pick this up. This is deep. This is important. But don't let anyone fool you. Okay, so this is the underground, as you can see. All right, so this girl right here, she wants to go above ground. She wants to go see what happens. But I want to show you the scene. All right, see right here? In this scene right here, where she's standing in front of that door. What is the number on this door? So they playing with us. But the number that's on that door is 33. That's it. See it? See it? 33. What year did they tell you that Jesus died? Well, let's look it up. Let's ask Google. They're going to tell you that he died at 33. You see? And this is why they keep using that number 33, because that is the number of when the death of the world, the death of his control over the world, his reign ends. When this happens, okay? All right, it says Jesus is generally believed to have died at the age 33. While the Bible doesn't explicitly state his age at death, most scholars place his crucifixion in the spring of either AD 30 or 33. You see? And we all know that this is a Masonic number. All right, this is a number of the occult. And so what they're saying in this film is that they know that the reign ends when we are resurrected. Right? When we are resurrected, they won't be able to lie about this thing anymore. It's gone. It's done away with. And this is how the Messiah is going to destroy him, by the word, right? By the word of his mouth. Well, what is the word of his mouth? The actual scriptures, not the King James Version. Okay, but the one that is written inside of you. This is why Paul said that the Spirit of the Son is sent into our hearts. Why? So that he can begin to write the word again within us. So it can never be altered. It can never be stolen from us. Okay. And also the word acts as the matrix controlling the simulation. So when they wrote the King James Bible, the way that they gave it to us, it controlled the simulation. This is why they had to put the name Jesus in there, because he is technically the God of this current simulation, if you can understand what I'm saying. And so with that being said, Ahawashai is going to change that. He's going to take it out. He's going to put it in our hearts. Whose hearts is he going to write this in? The whole world's? Every ethnic group on the earth? No, only us. And so when this happens, the matrix is changed. The world is changed. The simulation is changed. The world will be dissolved. The world in which you know it is maintained by the matrix of Jesus. But that matrix is going to be destroyed. And so the heavens and the earth are going to have to pass away, because right now they're underneath the control of Jesus. Now, I'm going to go into, I'm going to prove two things before I close out this video: that the cities are going to be destroyed, and that the scriptures are going to be only written inside of our hearts, right? And this is going to give us a new heaven and a new earth, because those scriptures will not contain the name Jesus. Jesus is the architect of this current simulation. And Yahweh has allowed this to happen so that it can be destroyed. But the time is coming when it will be destroyed, as it says in the Apocrypha. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning. Now we read that and we'll say, and we don't understand. Donald Trump is Esau. Donald Trump is Nebuchadnezzar. Donald Trump is the person who is signaling the end of the world, right? The end of this matrix that is over for the people that followed behind the Jesus thing. Because his time is up. They're telling you 33 there. His time is up. It's Ahawashai. It's his time, right? And he wants King David to be now the new God of the new simulation. This is why he told Peter that whatever you bound on earth, it will be bound in heaven, right? So he's controlling King David, as Peter is controlling the earth, and he's controlling the first heavens, right? Anything underneath the Most High's heaven, David is going to control. So you have a new God now that is going to control the simulation. So this is why Ahawashai told him, whatever you loose on earth, it will be loosed in heaven. Whatever you restrict on earth, it's going to be restricted in the heavens. Because he is now replacing Jesus. And this is why you're told to seek King David in the latter days. Because this transition is going to mess a lot of people up in their minds. They're not going to be able to deal with it because they wholeheartedly believe what the churches have taught them. So with that, let me get at these two scriptures and then we'll get out of here. Okay, so it was Isaiah to whom Yahweh said that many of y'all are not going to wake up until these cities be wasted without inhabitants. Let me read this for you real quick, and then I'm going to read a few more of these scriptures, and I'm going to close out with the rest of Benny Johnson, what he had to say, and you guys should take that very seriously. But this is Isaiah in chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 8, and it says, "Also I heard the voice of Yahweh saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then said I, Here I am, send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. The reason why y'all didn't understand is because of Jesus. And see ye indeed, but perceive not. Right? You don't actually see the world of the Heavenly Father. You don't see it. That's why you're still celebrating Christmas and Easter and New Year's and Thanksgiving, because you don't see the real world. You walk by sight. And it says, make the heart of this people fat and make their ears heavy and shut their eyes. These they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and understand with their heart and convert. Come away from Christianity. Come away from any world religion so that you can be healed. Then said I, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. Do y'all see where this is going? So Trump taking over DC is the beginning of the fulfillment of these prophecies, because they're going to isolate and centralize these cities and then destroy up everything else. That's why they want these data centers to have their own power source, their own nuclear power plants close by, because there's going to be no power for anything outside of those cities. But let's go to 2 Thessalonians, where it says here in verse 8, how Ahawashai is going to destroy them by the words that are written in these books, by the spirit of his mouth, which is the scriptures. The spirit of his mouth is the scriptures. Because how do I know that? It's because he's going to write all of this. He's not going to give us the King James version. He's going to give us his version, right? The truth. And he's going to write these things in our hearts. And when he does this, like I'm telling you, it's going to change the environment. The world is framed by the word of God. The book of Hebrews chapter 11, verse 3 tells us that the worlds, this one, that one, anyone, is all framed by the word of God. So it's the word of God that has power over the world. And as he changes the scriptures to throw out the name Jesus, to correct the things in which they cause as stumbling blocks in the King James Version, he's going to correct that. And this is how he's going to destroy them. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom Ahawashai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. All he got to do is speak the truth. Just like you. He told you that. He told us that. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Now let's go to Matthews. Listen. And this is what that dictator did not want you to understand. Now listen to what he says here. He says, what I tell you in darkness. What I tell you in darkness, he's speaking to you in this darkness that is this entire planet, for one, because they consider the whole planet darkness. And so he's speaking to us on the earth, through us, through our hearts. Right? So what he tells us in darkness, through what Christianity gave to us, right? That is the main darkness that's in this world, is Christianity. So he says, what I tell you in Christianity, that ye speak in light. I want you to say, he's not talking about light and darkness, as in the sun is on and then the moon is out. He's not speaking about that. He's speaking about us transitioning away from the lies in which they gave to us through their churches. Because Yahushua had to speak to us even in Christianity, right? Even Christianity was carrying his words because the entire world is framed by him. So they couldn't, even if they were fabricating certain things, that it was still based upon his truth, is what he's saying. But they took his truth and turned it into darkness. And now he's saying that we speak in the light. What is he talking about? Right? In him, right? Not the physical man, but him as the light. Let me get that. Let me get that in John chapter 1. Where Yahushua is called light. Because this is very important. That you need to overcome the world. And Christianity is an aspect of the world, whether you like it or not. It has been oppressing you spiritually for far too long. And we are now here to set you free by the name of Yahushua and no other. So let me get this. So again, the darkness is the world. The greatest religion in the world is Christianity, bar none. Islam doesn't even come close. No other religion comes close. So it is the greatest element of darkness in your consciousness. And Yahushua is saying he's speaking to us from that darkness. That's why so many of us used to be Christians, right? We were raised in Christian homes because to fulfill those words in which he just spoke to us. And let me pull this up. So let me read this to you again. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, right? What is the light? That is the invisible world from the perspective of the Father, from the perspective of the truth. The truth is the light. It is what illuminates us. This is why we call people that are smart, that have the truth, that they are bright, meaning intelligent. So let's go get it. All right, so I just read this verse 1 first. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him. Without him was not anything made that was made, including Christianity. You can't get Christianity without a Yahushua. Although Satan masked the covering of the truth with his BS, it still was based upon a Yahushua this entire time. So let me read this again. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made. Matter of fact, let me get one more verse. Because we got to set this thing free. We are at the very final minutes of the final hours of the days, the final minutes. I don't even think it's an hour left. Because of everything that's going on, I don't think it's an hour left. I think that the end is very near. It's very close. It's close at hand. All right, so let's go here. Habakkuk chapter 2 is going to tell us the same thing. all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made, right? Including all of this deception was designed by Yahushua himself, that we may be tested and tried. Okay, so let's read this. So bear with us, be patient. All right, listen to what it says. Starting at verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. See, a lot of brothers have problems being corrected. Then it says, and Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. See, a lot of people, they can't read the King James. They feel that it's too difficult for them to read because it's written in that Shakespearean way of speaking. But Yahweh said to make it plain, that he may run that readeth. The point of reading the Bible is for you to run this race. But listen, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So when he says that at the end it shall speak and not lie, well, we've received Christianity first. And so this is what Yahushua is saying. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in the light. Well, what is the light? Let's go to John. It says, in him was life, and that life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness. You see, the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. This is why it's really sad to see so many of our Christian brothers and sisters who are still walking by sight, right? They're walking by the physical. They speak of Christ. They speak of a physical birth, a physical baby, a physical man. When they speak of the resurrection, they speak of the resurrection of a physical man. When they imagine who they're praying to, they imagine a physical man. They comprehended not that he is what? The light of men. And the light shineth in darkness. So it had to come to us through Christianity and the rest of these religions. And the darkness comprehended it not. This is why they're not going to be able to keep up with the Church of King David, because we're not going to continually preach to you the physical things of Christ. We are going to preach to you the things of the light, of him being the light, of what he really is before he put on flesh. This is why I instituted the Pure Aura Holy Crowns Day, which is the recognition of the birth of Yahushua as the light of the world, as we're reading. And he says, there was a man sent from God whose name was John. We know his name is not John, so we need to correct that within inside ourselves. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He, meaning John, was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Now, the way this is written deceives a lot of people. So we got to correct this within our hearts. to know that what we just read said that everybody on the planet rejected Christ except for one group of people. Said he came unto his own, and his own received him not. So there's a lot of black people that's going to be stuck in Christianity. They're going to be stuck in Islam. But as many of his people that received him, right? But as many of his people that received him, see, they didn't want us to understand that they were rejected. And some of us black folks are accepted. Not all of us. Because some of y'all are going to still believe in Christianity until those cities be without inhabitants. The whole earth is going to be destroyed. And y'all still going to be believing in Jesus. Although Christ just threw him into the lake of fire along with the rest of his buddies. All right, so it says, but as many of his people that received them, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. So they just excluded the whole world. This is how we know that the whole world can't get it, because if certain aspects of our own family can't get it, then why would the rest of the world be able to access it? That doesn't make any sense. To them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. You see, when you believe the name that's written in the King James version, not God's version, not a Howard's version, not Christ's versions, not the Messiah's version, but King James said, put that name there instead. See, some of y'all still to this day are ashamed of the name of a Howard Shai. I know people close to me that won't even confess it because it's not European enough. Think about that. All right, so let me go back here. Let me finish this out. All right, it says, what I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what you hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Okay, now let's go to the Gospel of Thomas. And I'm going to read, I'm going to start at verse 50. Let's see if that's where I want. I want to start at verse 49. And it says that Howard Shai said, blessed are the solitary and elect, for you will find the kingdom, for you are from it, and to it you will return. Howard Shai said, if they say to you, where did you come from? Say to them, we came from the light. What is Christ? He's the true light. We came from him. Say to them, we came from the light, the place where the light came into being on its own accord and established itself and became manifest through their image. You see, just like Howard Shai said, if you see me, you have seen the Father. So now we have the power and the authority to say, if you see us, you have seen the Messiah. If you're looking at me, you have seen the Messiah. This is why in the King James, they had enough common sense to leave that in there when Howard Shai said, those that hear us, hear him. You that despise us also despise him and the one that sent him. So when we speak, it is a Hawashai speaking. So when you see me, you see my face, you see my eyes, you see my inner self. You are seeing the Messiah. When you see that brother and he's doing what he's got to do to win this race, you're seeing the Messiah. The Messiah has always been us. And just like they put him on the cross back then, that's why they attack us now. Because we are the image of the Messiah. Let me read this again. I wish I said, if they say unto you, where did you come from? Say to them, we came from the light. The place where the light came into being on its own accord and established itself and became manifest through their image. If they say to you, is it you? Say, we are its children. We are the elect of the living Father. If they ask you, what is the sign of your Father in you? Say to them, it is movement and repose. His disciples said unto him, when will the repose of the dead come about? And when will the new world come? Now I want y'all to listen to this answer. This is what Christianity stole from you. He said unto them, what you look forward to has already come, but you do not recognize it. I want y'all to think about that. The kingdom has been within your grasp this entire time, but you don't know how to access it. And you need to be taught and retrained and taught all over again of how to enter it, because Christianity distorted the way so bad that many of you are going to go into hell believing that you're following behind the Son of God, and you are not. And so with that, let's finish out with the rest of Benny Johnson's rant, Trump worshiping, and then we'll be back with another video. We'll add some more shorts in this week underneath these new restrictions that we have to follow. So with that, I say Abanawa forever, and I pray for all of you monarchs to get this right now. The time of our trouble is upon us, and we need to get in front of it before it gets in front of us. So with that, I say Abanawa forever. The Father is ours. We'll see you in the next video.
What happened to DC, especially during the civil rights period, was that protesters that were bussed up here stayed here. The city was burned to the ground. This happened during massive riots throughout the 60s and 70s. Mass swaths of the city were torched and were never really rebuilt. And so what President Trump is doing is reasserting control of not only our nation's capital, but truly the seat of Western civilization. One final little note here that kind of blends outside of the personal.